From the shining domicile that is Pittsburgh Comics, my old mannered comic shop owner Colin McMahon transforms into the world's greatest comic book talking TV host. Join us true believers for Comics Now!
Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for March 2025. Well, spring is here, kinda, some days not, but lots of stuff is starting up. The big summer events are right around the corner, and the companies are all starting to lay the groundwork for what's coming, and all sorts of things are coming. You also have the smaller publishers, or not Marvel and DC, are trying to get their books out before they're crowded off the shelf with all the summer event tie-ins and everything. So there's lots and lots of really good stuff coming out this March and this spring all the way through. From stuff like we have the second wave of the Absolute books are coming from DC. Godzilla is everywhere, including the Marvel Universe. So all sorts of things are going, and even Invincible is coming back to Image after their hit TV show. So lots of stuff going on, very exciting. For our Double Points promotion, we're going to be spotlighting Dark Horse Comics, one of the smaller guys, and letting you know all the neat stuff they have. Tim made a great display. We'll be happy to show you any great Dark Horse books that have been out in the last, they've been around 20, 25 years, maybe more. And then for book club, we're doing one of my favorites. One of my favorite companies is Ahoy. They actually put me in an issue of Toxic Avenger, and they have a great book that we decided to do for book club called Wrong Earth. And basically, this is the story of what if Batman from the Batman 66 TV show world showed up, swapped places with the Batman from the Dark Knight Returns world. So you have a very cartoony, happy place where even the bad guys aren't all that bad. Cross it over with a dark and brooding and totally violent place. And those two Batmans, but they're called Dragonfly Man. What happens if they switch spots and things go on? It's up to volume 3, so we're starting with volume 1 of The Wrong Earth. That is going to be on Friday, March 28th at 7 o'clock. So pick it up, give it a read, and come on by. So now on to all the great stuff that is coming out this March, and we're going to start with DC Comics. So DC has probably the biggest book coming out this spring, and that is Hush 2. In the pages of Batman, starting with issue 158, Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee are back doing the follow-up to their huge mega hit Hush that they did. I don't remember exactly when it was. I think it was early 2000s. And they're back doing Hush 2, so it's going to be 6 issues in Batman. And basically, I don't have a lot to tell you about it. It's just Hush returns is all they told us about it. So it's going to be big fan favorite book, and they're coming back to it. Also, it is the second wave of Absolute books. We've had huge success with Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman, which is my favorite of those group. So now we have some new ones coming. We have Absolute Green Lantern, written by Al Ewing, drawn by Janoy Lindsay. Without the core, without the ring, without the willpower, what's left is Absolute Green Lantern. We also have Absolute Martian Manhunter, written by Dennis Camp, who's crushing it over with Ultimates right now, and Javier Rodriguez. Beyond Mars, beyond physical form, beyond human understanding, all that's left is the ultimate alien, the Absolute Martian Manhunter. And then lastly, Absolute Flash, written by store favorite Jeff Lemire, and art by Nick Robles. Without the mentor, without the family, without the Speed Force, what's left is the Absolute Scarlet Speedster. So then we're getting a little silly. We're going Peacemaker Presents The Vigilante Eagly Double Feature. Now, this is written by James Gunn, who did the TV show, along with Tim Seeley, with art by Mitch Gerads. The Vigilante story starts when Peacemaker has disappeared. It's up to Adrian Chase, the Vigilante, and Peacemaker's bestest friend to find him. The crime bosses of Evergreen must pay. Blood will be spilled. Oh, wait, you say Peacemaker's just on vacation? Don't tell Adrian. We also have a new Secret Six miniseries by Nicole Maines and Steven Segovia. In the wake of Absolute Power, the Justice League has returned, the war criminal Amanda Waller is in prison, and things are finally getting back to normal. That is until Dreamer, John Kent, and Jay Nakamura discover that Waller has somehow vanished into thin air from her cell. With seemingly no leads and nothing but questions, our three heroes are forced to team up with the bad guys, Deadshot, Catman, and Black Alice, to track down Waller, reclaim the infinite trove of secrets in her head, and uncover what the deal is with all these chess pieces that they keep seeing around. All without letting their own individual secrets tear them apart from the inside. We also have Adventures of Superman, the Book of L one-shot by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Scott Godlewski. Superman returns. As the super family settles into a well-earned time of peace, a powerful ally-turned-enemy invades Earth with an army at his back and a god aspect of Olgrun, mad god of the first world. When even the super family lacks the power to stop him, Superman is sent against his will to a place even he's never been, where he'll find allies he could never have expected. We have DC meets Sonic the Hedgehog series for all the Sonic fans with the movie coming. We also have Superman, The Last Days of Lex Luthor #2. It's been a little over a year since #1 came out. It's by Mark Waid and Brian Hitch. Brian Hitch decided to go off and do Redcoat, so now he's back finishing this series up. We also have a new Teen Titans Go book for the kids, so that's spinning out of the cartoon, which I'm really happy to have because we need more kid books. And then we have some facsimile editions. We have the original Hush continues being reprinted in Batman 612 and 613. We have Batman Adventures 12, which reprints the first appearance of Harley Quinn. Brave and the Bold 30 is the second appearance of the Justice League. Crisis on Infinite Earths 12 wraps that series up. And then we also have one of the big treasury-size editions, Batman Strangest Cases. Now on to what's coming from Marvel Comics. A lot of great stuff coming from Marvel Comics, starting off with Godzilla vs. the Fantastic Four, the book you never know you needed to read. It's by Ryan North, who's the writer on Fantastic Four, with art by John Romita Jr. The battle of the century starts here. The start of 6 sensational, action-packed issues with Marvel heroes battling the king of monsters from its many different eras. How will Godzilla lore mix with the mighty Marvel universe? Find out as history is twisted when icons like the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, Hulk, X-Men, and Thor go face-to-face against one of the greatest monsters of all time. In this issue, witness a threat that never before seen as King Ghidorah descends upon the Earth with the power cosmic as Galactus' newest herald. We also have Doom's Division, a new part of the One World Under Doom. Tiger Division roars into action for Doom. Dr. Doom rules the planet, but instead of chaos, he's created world peace. Where does that leave Tiger Division, South Korea's most foremost defenders? As agents of the National Intelligence Service under White Fox, they're ordered to uphold the New World Order with the help of some new team members. But not everyone is content in Doom's utopia. Tensions are high and the stakes are higher in One World Under Doom. We also have Doctor Strange of Asgard. Dr. Doom tricked Doctor Strange into surrendering the title of Sorcerer Supreme. Now Doom is ruling the world and Stephen Strange is experiencing a bit of an identity crisis, searching for purpose and maybe revenge. He travels to Asgard to see if Thor's kingdom might be looking for a Sorcerer Supreme of its own. Loki's willing to help, but that help comes with a wicked catch, and Strange quickly realizes that becoming Asgard's top magical authority is going to be more complicated than he thought. We also have Spirits of Violence, #1. For weeks, Johnny Blaze has been on the trail of a mysterious and dangerous new entity, the Spirit of Violence. Born of an ancient curse from forgotten magics, the Spirit of Violence feeds on fear, blood, and death, and it's got a bone to pick with Ghost Rider. We also have Deadpool versus Wolverine Slash 'em Up. You know this is going to be fun. Deadpool and Wolverine are frenemies at their best, but their latest adventure might push their healing factors and Logan's patience to their absolute limits, as anything that stands in their way will be slashed to ribbons. We also have X-Manhunt beginning and running through all the X books. The most dangerous mutant in the world is on the run. The hunt to bring in fugitive Charles Xavier will play out across the X universe this month. We have Uncanny X-Men 11. At the end of the Orcus War, Charles Xavier surrendered himself to the authorities and allowed himself to be imprisoned in Greymalkin Prison. But now something has spurred him into action, into escaping his incarceration and embarking on a mad scramble across the nation. What caused Professor X to go on the run? And will his assorted pupils move to protect him, recapture him, or kill him? The answer, of course, is all of the above. So it's going to run through NYX-9, Storm 6, X-Men 13, X-Factor 8, X-Force 9, and Exceptional X-Men 7. And then it all wraps up in X-Manhunt Omega. The X-Manhunt concludes as Professor X reaches his destination and his assorted pursuers, friend and foe alike, catch up with him. Alliances will be battle-tested, the blades of betrayals will cut deep with poisoned tips, and when the dust finally settles, Charles Xavier will have to make a tectonic shifting choice with the fate of all mutant kind in the balance. The world is about to change. This time around, everyone is wide awake. We also have teaming back into the Disney world, What If Mickey and Friends Became the Avengers? We also have a new Thing miniseries by Tony Fleece and Leonard Kirk. Ben Grimm may be the strongest member of the Fantastic Four, but once upon a time he was just a scrawny kid from Yancey Street. When an unexpected visitor from his past sends him on a search for a missing child, the Thing must unravel the mystery, even if that means becoming a wanted man. Get ready to see the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing versus every superpowered criminal and bounty hunter in New York City. We also have continuing J.M. Straczynski's little set of one-shots. We have Nick Fury versus Fin Fang Foom. The Howling Commandos take on Fin Fang Foom. Nick Fury knows how to handle problems, no matter the size, but he's never faced a foe this big before. We also have a new miniseries, Web of Spider-Verse. The War of the Multiverse is coming. Spider-Man and his spider compatriots across the Spider-Verse are the guardians of the web of life and destiny. But they are heading for a confrontation with the other arachnid multiverse of the symbiote variety when they come into conflict with the Venomverse. In the build-up that eight-fisted confrontation, meet three new Spider-Verses to see what it takes to fight in the Web Wars. Could it be Count Parker, Spider Prowler, or maybe Spider Hulk? Some facsimile editions. We have Fantastic Four number 3. They're doing the first 12 again, so we're up to number 3. And X-Men 133, they're reprinting the Dark Phoenix saga in facsimile edition, so this is the next part of that. For fun, we have the Pool Illuminati. There are those who hold power and those who hold the secret power in the world. Those who shape the world around us and those who pull the strings unseen. They are the Pool Illuminati. Or wait, no, that's the Illuminati. So what the heck does the Pool Illuminati do? It's too secret, but Wade Wilson is about to find out. They're also doing a Marvel Fanfare 15 facsimile edition. This was a special Thing edition by Barry Windsor Smith. And then we have a new Star Wars book, Jedi Knights. The first issue in the prequel era. It begins here, Marvel's first series focusing on the guardians of peace and justice in the galaxy, the Jedi Knights. Featuring your favorite Jedi like Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Yoda, and Mace Windu, alongside brand new Jedi sure to become fan favorites. And who is the mysterious new villain targeting Qui-Gon Jinn? Now on to the new stuff coming from Image Comics. First up from Image Comics, the Invincible Universe is back. Invincible Universe Battle Beast by Robert Kirkman and Ryan Ottley. Cursed with an unquenchable thirst for violence, Battle Beast searches the universe for one warrior mightier than him and a glorious death, his only reward. And we also have a new one from Matthew Rosenberg, friend of the store. We're Taking Everyone Down With Us, with art by Stefano Landini. After her mad scientist father is killed by the world's greatest spy, 13-year-old Annalise is left all alone in the world. Sort of. Her dead dad's robot bodyguard is following her around for some reason. Now Annalise has a choice. Try to lead a normal life for the first time ever, or seek revenge and maybe overthrow the world order in the process. We also have Adventure Man is returning. This is the Matt Fraction book coming back for season 3. We also have Assorted Crisis Events. This is also by Dennis Camp, who's doing Ultimates and Ultimate Martian Manhunter, or Absolute Martian Manhunter. Time is having a crisis. Mingling in the red light district, you can find actual cavemen, medieval knights, and cyborg soldiers on leave from World War IV. Victorian debutantes amble their way into cell phone stores, confused and bewildered. On their way to work, bleary-eyed commuters get trapped in time loops, assaulted by alternate reality versions of themselves, and try to avoid post-apocalyptic wastelands. And look, the 315 bus just took a wrong turn into the Neolithic era. Bitterroot is back for another series, and so is Monkey Meat. We have a kids one-shot. This is by Garth Ennis and Dalibor Talajic. Every parent thinks their kids grow up too quickly, but not like this. In one bewildering, terrifying instant, every child below the age of 1 disappears, to be replaced by creatures beyond their mother's and father's understanding. What happened to their kids? Who are these deranged, hyper-violent adults who've taken their places? One horrified couple do their best to solve the nightmarish puzzle, but before they can try to find the answers they seek, they must survive the night. We also have Universal Monsters is back with a series on The Mummy. This is by Faith Erin Hicks and Lee Lowridge. Helen Grosvenor is a woman born in 2 worlds and belonging in neither, forever haunted by the cursed encounter as a child. When unknown voices bring her back to an Egyptian dig site from her past, Helen will unknowingly play an unexpected role in the rise of the monster known only as The Mummy. You'll Do Bad Things is a new one from Tyler Boss. It's been 10 years since the release of He Came In With a Smile, a true crime smash hit that chronicled the brutal murders committed by the nursery rhyme killer. But in the decades since its release, its author, Seth Holmes, hasn't produced another title. He wants to write a story with a happy ending, but every time his fingers clack across the keyboard, it always ends in his characters' deaths. Worse yet, these tales of blood and barbarity that flow so freely from Seth's mind are starting to happen in real life. Now on to what's coming from Dark Horse. New one, Arcade Royale, a new one from Cullen Bunn. Hudson Tremaine is a streetwise gambler who has siphoned money from every high-stakes game in Vegas. She's made a name for herself, but she's also made more than a few enemies in the gambling underworld. When she's invited to play in the most underground card tournament of all, the Arcanos Mysterios, she realizes the stakes are higher than she ever imagined possible. We also have a return of the great British bump-off, Kill or Be Quilt. Surely there is no vacation more drama-free than a boating holiday along the sleepy canals of Yorkshire. Oh, you'd think so. Sadly, for Shauna Wickle, it's tough to escape poisonous small-town rivalries and sultry romantic entanglements when traveling at a steady 2 to 3 miles an hour. And to make things worse, she's about to find out how ruinously expensive a hastily tied knot can be. We also have Vatican City. This is by Mark Miller and Per Berg. The world has been overrun by a vampire apocalypse. Every man, woman, and child dead, except the 2,000 tourists safe behind the walls and holy relics of Vatican City. But as the vampires gather in their millions outside, how long can they hold out? Because the monsters can wait forever. IDW has one new one, Star Trek Lore War. The all-new crossover event between Star Trek and Defiant is here. Lore War 1 shows us a universe rebuilt in Lore's image. The crews of Theseus and the Defiant scattered across the universe with no memory of who they once were. Some even worship Lore as their god. Lore has won. His rule is absolute. But the Cisco remains, and there are forces who wish to remind him of his power. And now on to what's coming from everybody else. Next up, we have what's coming from Boom Studios. The Return of Mouse Guard. It's been years since we've had a Mouse Guard book, and this is The Dawn of the Black Axe by David Peterson and Gabriel Rodriguez. The origin of the legendary Black Axe are revealed for the very first time. In celebration of its 20th anniversary, experience the earliest tale in Mouse Guard history. We also have The Last Boy. This is by Dan Penosi and Alessio Avallone. Years after Peter Pan's adventures with Wendy, the boy who wouldn't grow up is now the last one in Neverland, still clinging to his adventurous youth. Meanwhile, in London, Wendy also yearns for childhood and its freedom from responsibility as she rails against the transition to adulthood and her family's expectations. As their desire creates a mirror of fantasy and reality, a disastrous encounter with an aging Captain Hook becomes the catalyst for Peter's realization that Neverland is growing up without him. Next, Dynamite has Thundercats Lost. After being shot down in the middle of a war zone, fine Thunderan warriors are fighting for their lives. Together they faced a horde of heavily armored soldiers, and the team's only hope is to somehow break through their lines and reach the wreckage of their ship. Such overwhelming odds will strain their abilities to the absolute limit. But even if they and their commander make it out alive, will they still be able to complete their mission? And even more important, who is the mysterious antagonist who is hunting them? And what's his connection to the Book of Omens? We also have a new Vampirella #1. Vampirella's infant son was stolen by her evil twin Draculina and has finally been returned to her. But Vampy hasn't bonded with the baby, and she sees him as a stranger, and the resulting pain sends her spiraling into a severe postpartum depression. So have Space Coast Johnny Quest, Space Quest. Johnny and the gang are brought to investigate a mysterious, potentially extraterrestrial spacecraft that has been found by the government and brought to Area 51. Of course, where there's spaceships, there's bound to be aliens, right? But what Team Quest finds in this particular UFO is a far cry from the usual little gray men, and it's under the jurisdiction of a higher power, Space Ghost. We also have Red Sonja attacks Mars. While serving out a life debt, Red Sonja uncovers a sinister prophecy of cosmic foulness from beyond the stars. To stop the imminent destruction of the world, the she-devil with a sword must face down the insidious invaders from Mars, not to mention the Serpent Men, Meta-Morlocks, and ancient angry monster gods that she meets along the way. Titan Comics is bringing back Solomon Kane in The Serpent Ring, written and drawn by Patrick Zurcher. Kane battles from the Barbary coast across southern Europe to the canals of Venice as a band of rogues forms around him in their quest for the fabled Serpent Ring of Set. Distillery has a couple new ones. Midnight Airlines by Mirka Andolfo. A dark, erotic, and suspenseful adventure where vampires glide through luxury shadows. Dave, a jaded airport desk clerk, stumbles upon Midnight Airlines, a clandestine high-end air carrier catering exclusively to blood-sucking elites. When Dave's curiosity lands him on a flight filled with these deadly, charismatic passengers, he's thrust into a brutal game of survival within this hidden society. Amid opulent, elite surroundings, he reunites with his long-lost sister Claire, now ensnared in the vampire underworld. Together they fight to escape, navigating around vampire laws, supernatural foes, and enigmatic figures. We also have Defiant by Chuck Austin and Patrick Olaf. On his final mission, Sandusky returns to the stars to reclaim his son Devon's body and uncover the truth surrounding his death. Light years from home, among a cascade of twisted metal, Sandusky finds Devon, his body entombed in the remains of his ship, the Defiant, lost in a massive battle that sparked an intergalactic war. But nothing is what it seems as Sandusky digs deeper. He and his allies are drawn into a galaxy-spanning mystery, one that holds secrets far darker and more complex than anticipated. Valiant has a couple new ones. They're starting a Valiant Beyond series. This is designed as the ultimate jumping-on point. A Valiant Beyond line of comics are absolute must-reads that will energize your love for superheroes. Starting off with Bloodshot, a powerful new drug is unleashed on Japan and has set the underworld ablaze. There's only one force strong enough to stop the BS, and he's not looking for an invitation to start kicking butt. We also have Valiant Beyond Tales of the Shadow Man. The city of New Orleans is home to a rich history of music, art, and culture that has achieved unparalleled progress and success. It's the magic capital of the world and home to hard-nosed detectives trained in the ways of voodoo who has dedicated her life to keeping New Orleans safe. When an ultra-dangerous monster invades her jurisdiction and threatens the peace they've fought so hard to protect, she must disobey her orders and summon the mysterious being known as the Shadow Man in order to save the city she loves. Mad Cave has a new one, Dark Pyramid. Hooky Hidalgo, adventurist and popular live streamer, has gone missing while climbing Mount Denali in Alaska. When his girlfriend Becca arrives at the base of the mountain to retrace his steps, she soon discovers something beyond the dreamy and impressive landscape. There's a conspiracy deep within the heart of Denali itself, a dark pyramid silently and waiting. Becca and the scores of Hooky fans are determined either to find him or have some fun, and they will face death, avalanches, and monsters to find the truth. We also have Crush Depth. Two brothers locked in a sibling rivalry wrestle for command of a massive nuclear submarine, the Absolution, in a near future irrevocably altered by climate change. Chief Science Officer Liana Pearson finds herself not only caught between the Wilder brothers, but drowning in her fear of the surface world. When something alien infiltrates the Absolution and upends the balance of power, Liana is left with only two deadly options: reaching the toxic surface world or steering the sub into the unforgiving abyss and Crush Depth. We also have Far Down Below. In the summer of 1983, teen friends Mike and Brian seek escape from rainy day boredom by exploring Brian's abandoned family home, a notoriously haunted house. What they find below their sleepy eastern Pennsylvania suburb will unlock the doors to adventure and danger. And then lastly, we're on to Oni Press. We have Free for All #1. This is by Patrick Horvath, who did Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. In the future, the World Finance League exists to benefit all, randomly choosing from those among the billionaires and trillionaires of the world and presenting them with a choice. Either donate half their assets to the common good or defend them in ritual combat. Reigning champion and real estate magnate Ted Brooks has 22 victories under his belt, defending the wealth he schemed and stabbed to get, when he is forced to face his ex-wife in a fight to the death. But she has been training, waiting for this moment. But will she have what it takes to defeat the man who would do anything, absolutely anything, to keep his fortune? And then lastly, they've really been pushing this one, Out of Alcatraz. This is by Christopher Cantwell and Tyler Crook. Convict Frank Morris and Clarence Anglin have washed ashore in San Francisco after surviving their famous escape from Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary in June 1962. They soon meet their gruff and disappointed handler, a mysterious young woman who's also running from something, and hope to quickly get their way north of the border, if they can even make it out of Modesto alive. As a dogged federal manhunt and chance encounters threaten the desperate convicts, everyone involved is about to discover the same blood-stained truth. Life on the run is a more hellish prison than Alcatraz could have ever been. So that's what we have coming out in March, all sorts of good stuff. We're doing book club on March 28th, which we're going to do Wrong Earth, and we're spotlighting Dark Horse Comics all month. So that's what we have going on. The website's PittsburghComics.com, Facebook is Pittsburgh Comics, Twitter and Instagram are PGH Comics. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for Comic Previews Theater. See ya.
Ramalis. Wait, is this Ramalis? The guy who claims to have found Rome to be the origin of our bloodline?
You've got a damn good memory. Most of it's lies and head games, but he's still dangerous as they come. Nearly killed me more than once.
He smells different than the others. More blood, less metal.
Talking about me like I'm not standing right here? That's rude. Your little animal of the father here never taught you manners. But I will.
Isn't this guy supposed to be rotting away in the raft?
Guess a rattle always finds a hole to crawl out of. When'd you break up, Ramalis?
I was never really trapped in that petty place. But where did I go? An ancient empire, living a low life in the pathetic modern world? Everywhere felt like a prison.
Sounds real tough. So what changed? Someone's going out there at the Athenaeum itself, trying to rid the earth of it. What do you have to do with?
When I ruled Rome, I sent sages, spies, and soldiers in search of the primal power whispered about in secret codex. I burned power older than men, older even than the gods. A power that could make a man into a god. This text described this power as a primordial spirit of metal itself. They call it the adamantine. For all of my searching though, I never found it. Figured it was lost to the world when the age of myth ended. But then you went and woke it up. You were the last straw, Logan. How's that feel?
Delusional as always, huh? But how come you don't sound like a zombie, like Cyber and the others?
Because they are servants and I'm a sovereign. They are mere thralls of the adamantine, but I am its regent and its champion. The age of myth is returning, Logan. A return to the glory and the grandeur of the old heroes of legend. But for that to happen, those who have taken their place must die.